Welcome to the Temporary Insanity Podcast. Here are your hosts, Joshua Lewis Pereira, William McCoy, and Sierra Tansey.
Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Temporary Insanity. I'm your host, Joshua Lewis Pereira, and with me in studio today are our two BFFs and co-hosts, Mr. William McCoy and Miss Sierra Rose Tansey. We're a little giggly because Sierra was going to try to open this week, but we're going to try again next week, Sierra. You almost had it.
I thought it was. I wasn't expecting it just to be recording the whole time.
I'm saying, listen, you're gonna get this. You're gonna get this. Look, we're counting on you. That way, if I get hit by a Mack truck or something, we got to get you guys to be able to open the podcast. Journey to 1,000 miles, right? This week we're gonna have some fun. I think Will is gonna be in mourning this week because he's very, very emotional about the topic of the day, which is entitled Writer's Block. As most of you, if you don't know, should know, the Writers Guild of America is on strike.
They're on strike. So this means the already pushed back Marvel movies I was looking forward to are now being pushed back even further. But I gotta be on the side of the writers because they're fighting for their right for equal pay.
The last season of Stranger Things is pushed back like 2 years.
And it's been bad for the movie entertainment industry because they really got like a double dose of bad news because they had COVID, which ruined a lot of stuff for them, and now they got the writer's strike. Basically, not even a year after COVID,
I think
quote unquote disappeared.
I think season 2 of Wednesday was stalled. It wasn't even pushed back. It was just stalled.
Yeah, it's like we're just we'll reconvene when we can.
They also have to find a new actor, though. To be fair.
Which one?
Percy. Is that his name? Xavier.
Why?
Xavier,
what Xavier do?
That's the kid that got accused.
That was the kid who got accused of essaying a 15-year-old when he was 19 or something.
Yep.
So I think they fired him. Yeah. That might just be a rumor. I don't know for sure, but I think it's a thing.
So this, and I was mentioning this to Sierra while you were stepping away, Josh. This might mean that the best movie out for a long time might be the Barbie movie, because the Barbie movie is cleaning up in the theaters, and now the writers are on strike.
Well, yeah, I mean, I will tell you what. I went to go see Sound of Freedom.
I actually end up seeing that eventually, too. Good movie.
And I will tell you what. I don't suppose that they were on strike.
Sorry.
Got your mic there adjusted there?
Yeah, it was sorry.
But wasn't that movie also I don't know if it was written or if it was made a couple years ago?
So here's the thing. There was a lot of controversy about this movie, and this kind of ties in. It was written. It was passed up by Disney. It was passed up by a bunch of other places. Warner Brothers didn't want nothing to do with it. Angel Productions, the same people that do Chosen and all that stuff, all the let's call it the Jesus movies. Our people decided to take a chance on it, written and based on a true story. Took a chance on it. Went to theater, produced it. They were supposed to be out for literally, I think, 5 days.
It was a limited showing.
It was supposed to be a limited, small-time showing. They dropped on July 4th, same time as Harrison Ford's movie. What's it called?
Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones.
Which did garbage.
And they took Indiana Jones to the cleaner, to the point where they are still showing in theater, and that movie was insane. If I had to describe it with one word, it would be heavy.
See, I'm not a movie person. I get way too distracted way too quickly, especially now that all movies are 4 hours long.
Listen, this movie was heavy. This movie, I mean, it was about...
My mom gave me her free tickets. I just didn't want to see it.
It was heavy, though. I mean, I get this, it captivated my attention. Compared to the budget of Indiana Jones and all that stuff, I mean, they did it.
Because Angel Studios is still considered an indie studio, right? Because they're not a huge studio. Obviously, they make their own shows, but I'm pretty sure they're still considered indie. Which is, that movie looked pretty good for a smaller production company making that movie. It was a heavy movie. I wasn't surprised by the content because I watch a lot of documentaries, so I like see a lot of talk about like different crimes and children trafficking does come up. And I think there's a show, I want to say it's on Netflix, but I might be wrong. And it's called like Undercover Underage, where like this task force kind of like does like the stings, kind of like how Chris Hansen used to do, and they kind of like catch these pedophiles. But so like I'm not surprised about these things happening, but watching the story kind of unfold in a cinematic way was it is pretty heavy.
The way people are talking about it does sound really good. Movies like that, just I don't know. I'm really picky when it comes to movies. It needs to be the right amount of funny and sad for me to watch it, or else I want nothing to do with it.
Well, my thing about it is I was impressed. I was impressed because they went. It was like, to me, it was like David versus Goliath story. Okay, I mean, Disney got spanked by the little guy. All right,
Disney needs to be a topic of conversation.
I mean, they do. I mean, and I'm looking at it. I'm actually looking at an article by Newsweek right now, and honestly, like, moviegoers are anticipating the release of Barbie and Oppenheimer for months now, and both have performed spectacularly at the box office on their opening week. However, the beginning of July brought glowing headlines for Sound of Freedom, which surprised the industry forecasters with an outstanding result at the box office. Sound of Freedom, released on July 4th, 2023, has made the news recently for multiple viral videos and stories from viewers who say they were unable to watch the film at theaters for a number of reasons. AMC Theaters has faced backlash despite CEO Adam Aaron saying no one is surprised to see people suppressing people from seeing the film, because it was supposed to be limited release. So people are, let's see. Let me go to the highlight here. On multiple days in July, Sound of Freedom shocked many by outperforming international blockbusters Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny and Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1 at the box office. Sound of Freedom wrestled back the #1 spot from the latest Mission Impossible movie on Thursday, July 20th, the day before Barbie and Oppenheimer were released. According to numbers from Box Office Mojo, this is especially impressive given it was Sound of Freedom's 17th day in movie theaters, while the 7th Mission Impossible movie had been in theaters for just 9 days. Even now, as Barbie and Oppenheimer have taken over the top 2 spots in the box office, Sound of Freedom's popularity has helped it take 3rd place ahead of Tom Cruise and Harrison Ford's respective movies for the weekend of July 21st to 23rd. Sound of Freedom has made a total gross of $124,433,512 to date and earned $19,825,575 over the July 21st to 23rd weekend. It has only received a domestic release, so all of the money has come from North America alone.
Disney definitely dropped a bullet on this one, especially because Disney is very close to being bankrupt.
Yes.
Because of all of the terrible movies they're putting out.
Disney, what is wrong with you?
Look at what just those 4-ish movies that we talked about. Look at the difference. Barbie is a new movie. It's obviously, people know what Barbie is. Oppenheimer is a new concept, new movie. Sound of Freedom was a new movie.
I've heard Oppenheimer is very boring.
It's long.
I heard it's. My brother says that it could have been an hour shorter.
Yeah, it's very long.
How long is it?
3 hours.
Not watching that movie.
Indiana Jones is like the 17th installment, and in Mission Impossible is 17th Part 1 installment.
You guys are gonna yell at me again? I don't think I've ever seen an Indiana Jones movie.
Oh, come on, kid.
We're gonna make a top 10.
Don't
about
like
things you need to watch.
movies.
And I'll tell you, I love Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford is my boy. Harrison Ford, if you listen to me, I love you, man. You are the man. Even like he's been like on the TV shows he's been making. I just watched an Apple original called Shrinking. Really good show.
Can you name a movie of his that I'd know?
Harrison Ford?
Yeah.
Dude, the guy's like in thousands of them.
Didn't know who he was.
Indiana Jones.
Nope.
Like all of them.
Like look at the movies that came out or are coming out soon. We mentioned the few Mission Impossibles, the millionth installment. So was the other movie, Indiana Jones. They come out with Insidious, which is like the 15th Insidious. Elemental, which is new, but that's just a kid's movie. Spider-Man was fantastic, but it's also a second installment. The Meg 2, who I don't know who asked for that, it's come out in August. Transformers, which I didn't even know they were making a new movie, came out with another installment. Little Mermaid, which no one really wanted that anyways. Sing 2, which is a kid's movie, but again, it's
So
Sing 2.
good.
So it's like, I think people are getting sick and tired of rerun shows.
I think it was released in 2022, but Puss in Boots,
Puss in Boots was good.
so good.
I watched it the other day.
So good.
Not gonna lie.
For the first time?
Yeah,
I've watched it like 3 times.
good movie.
So good.
So I think between Disney acting up and them putting out, half energy movies or putting out the 7th sequel of a show that should have ended 4 sequels ago, I think people are tired of the same old, and it shows. And now on top of that, we have these writers going on strike, which is not helping these companies that are already
Maybe
going
that's
bankrupt.
why every Disney movie lately is bad.
And to you going bankrupt, and for those who don't know why they're striking because their hours are terrible. They're not getting paid enough on residual pay, and they're not getting paid at all on streaming numbers. Why, you might ask? Because none of the big ones, correct me if I'm wrong, put out their streaming numbers. Why, you might ask? Because it will show that their streaming numbers are not making them any money, and these companies who are publicly traded companies, their stock would plummet if people really knew that Disney and Netflix and Apple TV or Apple Plus, whatever they call it, is not really making hand over fist money that they should. And I think that's where the issue is, that they're putting up the facade. And the writers know this, and they're like, well, if you're going to put us through all this, give us more money. And that's kind of the point where they're at now.
Well, they want to be compensated for their product. There's a great article in Vulture that was put out probably about 6 days ago, 5 or 6 days ago. It's called the 2023 Hollywood Strike for Dummies, and it kind of breaks it down pretty nice. It talks about just like what Will was saying. It talks about how the first sentence really captures your attention. It says, "Have you heard about streaming? Well, if not, know that it's the invasive species of the scripting world, throttling the competition and harmful to the ecosystem of if unregulated. And now, because of changes to entertainment environment due to streaming, both writers and actors are on strike. The WGA, or the Writers Guild of America, asked its writers to vote on authorizing a strike on April 3rd, and on the 17th, it was officially announced that members had voted to authorize with an overwhelming 97.85% yes vote. So just about everybody except for maybe one guy said, yeah, we'll go on strike. When the deadline for a new contract has passed on May 1st, the threat of a writer's strike, which was looming over Hollywood for some time, transitioned into from looming to here. A little over 2 months later, on July 17th, SAG-AFTRA also went on strike with a fiery speech from SAG President Fran Drescher to sound the alarm bells. This is the first time that both the WGA and SAG have been on strike against the Alliance of Motion Pictures and Television Producers at the same time since 1960, making it a historical anomaly, if not an unprecedented one. The WGA strike is the first since 2007-2008 strike cursed us with our now indicted ex-president. No, really, it's the reason The Apprentice stayed on the air and reified him in the American conscience as a genius businessman and philanthropist. The strike has served as a reminder that despite functioning as an escape based on creative output for many, the entertainment business is still ultimately a business. So, I mean, they want to get paid. It's a very regular working class existence. Alex O'Keefe, a writer for FX The Bear, told The New Yorker about his work right before the strike, and the only future I'm seeking financially is to enter the middle class, which has always been rarefied for someone who comes from poverty. I mean, they want to get paid. Why is Hollywood on strike? It goes into on the article here, but basically, I mean, it sounds like these guys have some crazy hours, and they work hard. They get very creative. America loves to sit down and just watch their stories, and as a result, these guys want to be compensated for it.
I mean, I'd be upset too if I was getting paid half of what I should for doing double the work. I mean, I feel like people are complaining that they're going on strike, but I don't see a problem with that at all.
I mean, my problem is that I'm in a show hole because none of my stories have come back.
I'm glad
I'm
I
not
like
mad
video
that they're
games.
doing it. I'm just mad that my shows aren't coming back for like
I'm
3
glad
years.
I'm glad I like video games. That's all I'm saying.
Just give them what we want so we can get our stuff back.
I mean, the thing about it, and here's what stinks about if you go back to the 2007-2008 strike. I was in the middle. There was a show called I think it was called Casino, and they left it on a cliffhanger, and then they went on strike. And then because the strike went for so long, they just canceled the show.
Yeah, they never went back.
So I just never knew what happened. I'm like, what happened?
You gotta like type up a blog. This is how it's supposed to end. Here you go.
Right. Start some fan fiction.
Something. I mean, I get why they're doing it. I mean, it only makes sense. But the reason why, I mean, I don't. And I guess the next question is like, how long is it gonna last? And I think it's gonna last a while because unless these companies. Because the way that I'm guessing the way that the compensation for streaming would have to go is whoever worked on whatever show that went straight to streaming, like how they had those issues with the movies during COVID. I think like Black Widow's movie or TV show went straight to Disney Plus. That was supposed to go to theaters. So now you have to compensate, I'm guessing, on how many views it gets. Mm-hmm. So now they have to disclose how many views these shows are getting via streaming. And I think these companies know that it's not a lot and it's not as much as they probably project to investors. Because really, Netflix and Hulu and, well, I guess Disney Plus, because Hulu's on a Disney Plus, and Max now, it used to be HBO Max, are really held accountable by their investors. So they don't want to put out these subpar numbers because their stock will plummet. And I think you're seeing that's why a few months ago now, they had that like mass firing of like ESPN employees. I don't know you don't pay attention to ESPN, but they had this mass firing of employees, and people were like, what's going on? It's because Disney's getting rid of dead weight and duplicate jobs because they're losing a lot of money. And personally, I think there's too many streaming services. I think there should just be 2. And I think maybe 3 will survive. It'll probably definitely be Netflix.
Disney Plus.
I don't know, man. Netflix is trying to survive. I mean, honestly, like Apple TV's coming out with a vengeance because Apple TV's kind of offering you everything.
Well, I think like with Netflix, they just need to sell the few good shows that they do have that people like and just shut down.
I can see Netflix sticking around.
Because I don't really watch Netflix. I mean, Netflix, everything pretty much like in Netflix now, it's like you get Netflix for free with T-Mobile.
I have Netflix for Wednesday, Shameless, and I want to start Suits. That's it.
Right, but
literally it.
But anything.
Oh, Stranger Things.
Anything you want to watch that you can't see on Netflix, you can pretty much buy on Apple TV.
I would agree with you, and when they had the whole thing that they want to stop sharing passwords, I thought that was like the nail in the coffin for Netflix. But like then everyone just signed up for Netflix again. I was like, if you're gonna like, now you're letting them kind of play you the fool because like you now like, oh, we're gonna take away like because I think in the beginning the whole thing with Netflix was like, oh, share a password with your friends.
Oh, I actually
Netflix.
got that the other day.
Because you know that Hulu's not going to go anywhere because half of NBC is on Hulu now.
Yeah.
Even though which doesn't make sense because Peacock is out there and like I don't understand why they're putting instead of on Peacock they're putting it onto Hulu like they have some kind of partnership. Paramount Plus is definitely not going anywhere because CBS what they're doing instead of canceling shows because most of their shows still have a huge following, just not enough for like actual TV time, is they're moving it to Paramount Plus.
Well, what Paramount Plus is doing is they're also doing the whole like shows that kids from the early 2000s want to see, like iCarly,
Right.
the new iCarly, or Zoe 102 that's coming out this week.
I love SEAL Team. But SEAL Team didn't have enough to stay on like actual like CBS like network, so they're like, oh, it's going to be exclusive on Paramount Plus. Or for anybody who watches like America's favorite show, or what's it called? Sheridan's show there with the Duttons.
Yellowstone.
Yellowstone and all of the Yellowstone spin-offs, you have to have Paramount Plus, or somehow now they differentiate between Paramount Plus, Paramount, and then HBO Max, right?
I got the Netflix password thing the other day. So Justin uses our Netflix because I use his Disney Plus, and I signed into it at his house, and it was like, we see that you're not at your regular address, and I had to click like I'm on vacation in order to sign in.
Well, that just happened at my mom's house, because they were like, oh, we usually use Will and Rachel's, and they're like, oh, so now we had to create them an account for them to use ours. So Haley's like, oh, I got a way around it, Dad. And I'm like, okay, cool. But I mean, so they clearly have to find a way to compensate these people, because it's not going to change. Because like here's the thing about it all, and there's a few articles that I'm putting out there from the Washington Post and from the Times here, from the New York Times. I mean, they're standing their ground. I mean, and they don't care, because honestly, like, and I have another article here that's gonna list out a bunch of stuff that's gonna be paused until this is fixed. But the position is that we're not gonna record, and there's a point here. What will happen to my TV shows and movies? It'll take a while for film goers to notice the change, since most of the movies scheduled for release this year have already been shot. But TV viewers are already seeing the strike's effects. And if it drags on, popular shows could see their next seasons delayed. Hello, we're already seeing that, right? Late night shows are already airing reruns because of their writer's strike. And the vast majority of TV and film productions have already shut down or paused production. Big name shows like Yellow Jackets, Severance, and Stranger Things halted after the writer's strike began, and is not yet clear if their upcoming seasons will be delayed. Disney announced several changes to their theatrical release calendar in June amid the writer's strike.
Don't get me started with Disney.
I mean, now the actors' strike will add even greater upheaval. During the first 2 weeks of July, no scripted TV permits were issued in Los Angeles County, according to Film LA, which tracks production activity. Film and TV shows that have completed shooting and are already in post-production can likely stay on schedule, because the work remaining does not typically involve writers or actors. I mean, how long will this drag on? And the article says, if only we knew, period.
I think it will drag on for a while, because I think what I can see, not all studios, but some studios experimenting with, because they've been waiting, is AI-driven shows. They've been waiting for this. So I think this will be some excuse for some companies to try it out.
One big problem that the writer's strike is also creating is, as we wait longer for the shows to come out, these actors are getting older.
Yeah.
Right? So especially with Stranger Things, where they're all supposed to be like, I think now their characters are supposed to be like 15, but they're all like 21 now. So they obviously don't look 14 anymore, and they're not going to look 14 in 3 years when the show's supposed to come out now.
Yeah, I mean, they got AI for that, because I think a lot of them, they own the rights to their likeness for the time being.
I remember reading this article. It was about Avatar, like the Blue People movie, not like Airbender.
Yeah.
And one of the actors in it was like, by the time the next Avatar comes out, it's going to be like in 20 years, and all of us are going to be like 60.
Absolutely. It's going to take forever. But even like with Secret Invasions, which is Disney Plus show, their intro, and I don't know if it's their outro too, but their intro was made strictly by AI. So like was someone's or multiple people's job to, curate a opening sequence for a show. It's now done by AI. So I think I don't think AI is going to be the solution at this time around, but I think companies, especially Disney, will jump at the
I think
the
the
chance.
movie and TV industry in general is just going downhill. Like, did you guys see why Disney's in deep waters now?
Well, they're in deep waters now because they're trying to appease everybody.
Well,
but outside of that,
yeah. So they just put out the I don't know if it was a trailer or if it was screenshots from the new filming of the live action Snow White,
Oh yeah.
in which Snow White is all power to her. Snow White is an Indian woman,
Yeah.
and
mean-
also there is only one white dwarf.
Yes,
And
I did,
one of the
I did see
dwarves
that.
are
Yeah,
female.
I did see
And
that.
everyone's like, huh?
I did see that. I mean, I don't like it because you said they're pandering, but then on the other hand, like they own the property to the fictional show, so
Yeah.
they wanted to
Like,
But I get I get why it's bad for
the
sure.
dwarves,
but-
I get it. I'm not as mad about the dwarves, but the Snow White as a character, her whole catchphrase is skin as white as snow.
Yes.
So are they still gonna put that in the movie?
guys,
Probably not. Probably
I'm
not.
just saying. Here's my problem. All right, and I'm not. Look, I believe in inclusion. I've said this so many episodes. I believe in the inclusion. Disney. You have an army of people. Well, not right now because they're on strike.
So real.
Write new stuff. Just write
Yes,
new things
yes, I
that
agree,
are
I
inclusive
agree.
of these different
Their new
different
stuff.
nationalities.
But their new stuff is also bad.
But leave the class. Well, that's because apparently they're not hiring
Like,
the right people. Maybe
turning
they
red?
should use this strike. Maybe they should use the strike to hire new
Or-
talent.
What's
I
the
don't,
newest?
think, I don't think it's the talent. I think it's the head person making a point to pander to everybody.
Walt Disney from himself, from
He's
the gra-
rolling in his grave.
From the grave.
Well, no,
I
isn't,
mean-
isn't he like the conspiracy theorist? Say he's like frozen
Oh,
somewhere.
isn't he? Yeah, isn't he frozen in the
Maybe.
Disney
He's
park somewhere?
cryo frozen.
If ever, listen,
Please unfreeze them. They need help.
use this time that everybody's on strike, okay, to figure out how to cryogenically get Walt Disney back, so y'all can.
Maybe we don't unfreeze him because he was a Nazi.
Well, but
Well,
maybe.
he was a Nazi sympathizer, no?
Yeah, he was anti-Semitic.
But maybe if they bring him back now in this time of all this wokeness and
It would be
stuff,
like an
maybe they'll-
opposite Captain America moment.
Maybe they'll convert him to
They've got to give him like a like video, like what happened while you were gone.
They're gonna bring him back and he's gonna be like,
He'll have,
"Where's
like, all
my
the tears.
Nazi? Where's my Nazi Donald Duck?
and then
Is it what I wanted?"
like what like they'll be like what you've been like you were saying like what you've been missing and like he'll be crying he'll be like I know
Put me back.
understand.
Put me back.
Freeze me again.
Oh, in any case,
You're gonna be looking at Snow White like,
the writers have been walking the picket lines now for more than 70 days, and their union, the Writers Guild of America, has yet to return to the bargaining with the studio. So they're not stopping anytime soon. The last time writers and actors went on strike at the same time was 1960, when Ronald Reagan was still president of the Screen Actors Guild. Screenwriters have walked out several times, sometimes for long periods. Their 2007 strike lasted 100 days. The actors last staged a major walkout in 1980.
I
It
wanna be
lasted
part of
more
a
than
strike.
3 months. So this, if history shows us anything, I mean, this can be a long time.
do you think they're like standing outside of Disney Studios with signs?
Look,
Oh,
Mom,
definitely.
who are those people with the signs? Those are the people that make your movies, son. You're not going to be able to watch anything for a while. But I need to watch my TV. Read a book. What's a book?
I know, and we're gonna go back to reading books now. I just looked this up. Disney Plus or Disney, the company's gonna be around for a long time, especially in the TV portion, because this is just a few things that they own. ESPN, they merged with ABC, which gave Disney 80% controlling interest in sports and media conglomerates. They own Pixar, Marvel, Lucasfilms, 21st Century Fox, Hollywood Records, Arson Entertainment Network, National Geographic, and Streamboat Ventures.
And still, they couldn't
My
beat.
goodness.
And they couldn't beat Angel Studios
They're
with the Sound of Freedom for the past month.
they're starting to add like their logo to these like companies now.
Yeah, because they're being like, hey, I know that the rest of our stuff really stinks right now because we're trying to be so woke and we're trying to appease cancel culture.
I forgot
So-
what I watched the other day, but at the end of the movie, like the Disney logo like slid to the side of it, and I was like, I feel like they didn't always do that.
But this is interesting because another fun fact, this is Disney's 100-year anniversary. So-
Ethan's diapers, their 100th anniversary like diapers.
I love
funny,
that
though.
Ethan's pooping all over Disney logo.
Yeah.
I hope they have the.
He has
So-
like a little Simba on his
So
butt.
on their 100th year,
You just
the-
can't wait to be
the
king.
Disney parks aren't doing great. They're firing everyone at their companies. They're having the strikes. It's like this is not a good 100 years.
Do you
for
hear
Disney.
what else Disney is doing at their parks?
Hit me
The
with
weight
it.
limit. They're putting
Yeah.
a weight limit on their rides now at Disney Park. So if you're anything over 180, don't think about it.
Wait a second. Listen, I have to go back into 400-pound Josh mode. Hold on a second. I need to transfer. This is an abomination.
Well, I guess something happened
I speak for fat people everywhere when
I
I
get-
say this is an abomination.
I guess something happened with a ride. I don't know the exact story, but I think a ride might have broken down or just broke.
Well, who's going to eat those turkey legs? You 180-pound people are not eating the turkey legs and drinking the steins full of the beer.
As a
at Disney.
185-pound man, I will not be eating the turkey legs.
But now the question is like, are you gonna have like scales outside the ride?
Probably. Well, they I know like water parks do this because like for like the water rides they have like a wait for like multiple people.
But the
They have scales.
average size for a man is over that.
Yeah.
Like with a certain height.
Especially if you're like, if you're tall, if you're 6'2".
Where's all you woke people for this? Where's all you cancel culture people for that?
Well, all the
they
woke-
are shaming people.
what
all
about
the
the-
woke people are vegetarians, so they weigh 50
And what about
pounds.
the people that are like mostly muscle, like bodybuilders?
Yeah, they won't be able to get on.
They're over 2.
I mean,
Definitely.
I was 397 pounds. And I will tell you this right now. I would be really angry. So are you going to let me go into your park for free?
No. But I mean,
No, they're not even gonna let you in.
I think 180
At the door?
180 is definitely a low because I mean if they built them right, but then you can't really get mad because they also had a height thing, and they like people don't get mad at that. If it's for safety, you can't really get mad. But if it's not,
Yeah, so you're walking into the park, right? And there's like a scale built into the ticket counter, and like there's like a red. Like,
I
Take a picture.
understand height
so
a
funny,
little
though.
bit, just because of like you can fall out of the cart and stuff.
yeah. But if they
You can also do that. Wait,
but
when
they can
I was,
also say
like,
you're too heavy, you might break the cart. But that sounds
Post
so much
diabetic
worse.
Sierra, when I was like 50 pounds and I would go on a ride, definitely felt myself flipping out of it on multiple occasions.
I don't know.
But
Look,
it also comes like if there's a weight limit for being too heavy, shouldn't there be a weight limit for being too small
Yes.
too? Because at some point that buckle just isn't gonna, doesn't matter. But going back to movies, it's irrelevant. I just wanted to get more mad at Disney.
so
than
what are
I
you
am.
gonna do, Will? I mean, look, I'm looking at this other article that's in the Washington Post that says movies shows delayed by SAG strike from Avatar to Zendaya. So you have
Zendaya?
Avatar and Star Wars projects. So Avatar
That does
3
hurt.
will move to 2025. Avatar 4 to 2029. I don't know.
See? That's so long.
That's a long time.
Deadpool 3 to Avengers. So
Wait, are we
Captain
saying
America Brave New World.
Avatar, the blue people Avatar, or Avatar like
The blue people.
Airbender?
Because they were supposed to come out with that one like 2 years after.
Because there's
the last
also
one.
a live action Avatar: The Last Airbender coming out.
This one really hurts you, man. I mean,
Yeah, it
Disney
kills me.
also announced in mid-June that a number of its upcoming Marvel films, including Captain America: Brave New World and the next 2 Avenger films, would be pushed back.
Yep.
These movies join other delayed Marvel projects, such as the forthcoming Disney Plus show Wonder Man, Venom 3, and the feature film Thunderbolts.
We can keep Venom. But yeah, no, this news definitely saddened me when I
See,
heard it.
I remember I saw a post of them saying that they were pushing back part 2 of the Spider-Verse.
Yes.
But I showed it to my brother and he said that it was probably fake. But now I'm like,
At
I
this
wonder
point,
if
it's not. Because that was definitely before the strike.
They definitely pushed it back a lot
Man,
though.
one of my shows just got pushed back. Abbott Elementary. I was watching Abbott Elementary. Writers for the Emmy Award-winning show won't be working during the strike. So Abbott Elementary. We don't know. And we don't know when that's coming back.
I mean, I'll just have to lean back on Old Faithful, which is my Xbox. That got some good games coming out in September. Hopefully, they're actually good. And then I'll also have to lean on that because there's no shows. There's legit no shows.
Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai got delayed for those.
Yeah, it seems like this is gonna be. I mean, you have to support the writers because if they're saying that their conditions and payment is so bad that they're going to not make money, I gotta believe them. I gotta side with them.
For those of you going into your 40th season of Law and Order SVU, that's been delayed. But you could take this time to go back to season 1 and catch up since you may have forgotten what's happened there. Let's see, P-Valley, Severance. That's another Apple TV one. There's a crazy amount. So 1923's been delayed. So that gives you time to catch up.
I'm genuinely saddened by Wednesday.
Me too. I
But I
actually did
really
like
liked
that show.
that show.
That was actually a really
I'm
good
actually
show.
rewatching it right now.
I mean, there's not much you can do, obviously. I mean, but read a book. Come on, people, let's get back to reading books. Let's make libraries cool again, I guess.
But you know what? Here's what I have to say to all of you mainstreamers. All right, shout out to my people, our people that shows and movies still filming. The Chosen season 4 will be coming out as promised. So they're still recording. Oh wow, House of Dragon season 2 is coming out.
I think they already wrapped filming for that, though.
Well, some of these people too, like they already if you already had a script made when the writer's strike started, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, and I know. I was reading like the smaller studios don't have that issue because they're paying their people what they can, but yes, these big companies that should be paying people and have the money to that just won't.
No, but and honestly, look, read a book, people, and support studios and whatnot, like Angel and what. So there's so much good independent stuff. Like, on this podcast, one of the things that I really like to promote, like, we were just talking about for a while, the other movie, I just drew a blank on the movie that we were just talking about.
Sound of Freedom?
The Sound of Freedom, right? There are streaming services like PureFlix and Angel. Angel has its own streaming platform where they have all these independent things that came out, like Sound of Freedom, like The Chosen. If you haven't watched The Chosen, it's a great series on like the life of Christ. Hey, if you listen to this program and you prayed and you accepted Christ into your life, great way to kind of getting to know who Jesus Christ is. Like, while this writers strike and the actors strike and all, go after these alternative things. I mean, it's a good time. Hey, dive into your Bible. Like, not for nothing, get into some Bible study, seek ye first the kingdom of God, So a lot of times as believers, we find ourselves in these show holes and we go nuts trying to find the next big thing to binge. One of the top-rated Google searches is binge-worthy TV shows and binge-worthy series to watch. And it's funny because we find ourselves in this place where we don't know what to do with ourselves. And it's kind of sad. Like my kids sometimes, they're like, I'm bored. I'm like, well, go outside. Like when I was a kid, I wanted to go outside and play Manhunt.
Go outside, I'll see you when the streetlights come
yeah.
on.
And then my parents used to like yell at me to come inside. Like nowadays, it's like, go outside. And like, do I have to? Like,
I call my mom. Can I have like 30 more minutes? I'm having so much fun. It's like, all right, 30 more minutes. And now it's like if you don't have your, shows lined up, you're bored and you have nothing to do. I mean, it's good for indie. I think it's the time for like these indie studios to be able to shine. Because people are gonna want to watch something. You're going to watch Friends for the 15th time so many times. I haven't ever watched Friends once, but I heard that's a binge-worthy type
I'm not
of
a
show.
binger. I can't do it. My undiagnosed ADHD kicks in.
It depends what I can rewatch movies, but I can't really rewatch series.
Well,
That's just mindless stuff.
My mom can sit there and watch 10 episodes of one show in one sitting, and I'm just like, okay. After 2, I was like, I need a break. I'm sick of looking at these same faces.
I mean, the Netflix binge culture kind of ruined it for all of us. We were used to once a week, on a Sunday, on a Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Then Netflix was like, hey, how about 12 episodes in a day? And we're like, yeah, oh yeah, sure. And now even you see Netflix kind of revert, and now they're doing it slowly because now they do half the season.
Oh yeah, that's so
annoying.
annoying.
Wait a couple months because they know they created a monster, and this is why they're having issues because they can't keep up. Because now studios like Max and Apple, they know all right, why would we give people 10 garbage shows to binge watch just to keep them entertained when we can give them one good show every 3 to 6 months and then have some throw Friends on there that they can replay in between. That's what people I think like more, but just binging at the time just is very enticing.
Something I'm so shocked about are people are announcing shows or seasons right now too, and I'm like, why would you risk announcing that this is happening?
Yeah.
But not even being able to tell people a timeline. What was it? I think American Horror Story just announced a new season, and I'm like, brave of you to do that.
Yeah. And yeah, now look what happens. And now you're on strike. But I think because they want to keep people engaged. 'Cause again, it's like what's the next thing coming? Because Marvel is a huge thing for that. They do like 10 years worth of movies. They do the timeline. Oh, this is the movies come out in the next 5 years, and then now you see what's happening.
Part of it's kind of smart though too. It's like, hey, just wanted to let you know this new season's coming out. So while you're waiting,
Watch the other
the old
seasons.
seasons, and then every view that we get a shiny penny for it.
Yeah, and then for like the comic book kind of era, like you got the new people are coming up, so you'll rewatch the old movies and you'll watch and read the comics and buy some merch because you're excited. So I get the point,
Yeah.
but then the problem is now things happen and now the movie that's supposed to come out in 2024 is now pushed out to 2029.
Especially Marvel movies, because
Especially Marvel
damn well
movies.
now that all these Marvel movies are announced and pushed back, everyone's like, well, I'm just gonna watch the timeline all over again and just see where they fit in.
Yeah, but like now I'm disappointed. If they never announced it, I could never be disappointed.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at. So they announce things of grandeur, and now they're like, well, we said it's going to come out next year, but,
Now
writers
like
strike.
2 years.
And they pushed it back, or like a lot of them, because of COVID. Like I said, COVID kind of like, it's like a right and a left for these industries who need to work with people.
Then with shows like Stranger Things, where everyone knows it's the last season,
Yeah.
and we're all like, okay, how are they gonna end it? Like, we gotta know. Come on.
Kind of like kills the hype a little bit for, I'm sure,
A little bit, yeah.
some people.
And I bet all the actors have already said that they're over it and they
Yeah.
want it to be done. Like, especially because of all like the time between every season. I think it's like at least 2 years for most of them. Like, being committed to that role for so long with basically nothing happening most of the time
Yeah.
has to be tiring.
I mean, the more you wait to as a consumer, the higher your expectations are. So, like, my expectation for these movies that are coming out are going to be a lot higher than if they came out on a normal timeline.
Yeah.
Because, like, well, now you announced it 2 years ago, and now, like, you're making me wait even longer. Like, this better be a good show.
I think a lot of it, like
Or movie.
some of it too, like waiting so long kind of makes people forget about it. And then when it does come
Absolutely.
out, we're like, oh, I'm not really into it anymore, because obviously like interests change. Like before this, we were talking about the Five Nights at Freddy's movie coming out. Like, I've been a Five Nights at Freddy's fan since literally 6th grade in middle school. I'm now a junior/senior in college, and I'm still very excited for it. But if I wasn't, and it's probably pushed back another 5 years, I'll be like, well,
In 5 years, you might not care.
like I'm kind of over it at this point. Why
Yeah.
would I want to watch it? Like, it's like one of those things, kind of. Like someone could be so excited about this Captain America. Is it a movie or a series?
I think that one's a movie.
A movie coming out, and I was like, I'm a 5 years. I was like, well, now I like Iron Man more.
Yeah.
Not as excited
Now
anymore.
I don't care at all.
I don't really care about Captain America anymore.
And I mean, to a point, these big companies are kind of getting what they deserve. It sucks for us consumers, but I mean, again, it's kind of like what we were talking about on the other podcast. You can't let the big guy dictate what's going on. You can't let them take away your rights. You have to kind of stand up to them. And like you see they do their yearly and quarterly earning reports, and they, put out there they're making hand over fist, in profits and buying this IP and making movies in this country. And these people are like, well, can you make one less show and pay us better? And you're like, no, we're going to go to Dubai and make a show. Or how many things like in the last 5 years is a Netflix exclusive that are from like different countries? Netflix didn't go over there and
Well, there's that.
do it. They just paid for it. It's like, oh, here, use our money to make that and just put our stamp on it.
One of the big things with Disney Plus right now, I don't know. I know that my grandmother went into an uproar about it. I guess they're coming out with a German film about Satan impregnating a woman, I think an underage woman, with its child.
This is
And
on
everyone's
brand.
like, stay away from Germany. And it's,
Yeah, I think she was showing me that because I didn't hear about it. And I saw, I was like, that is a wild concept.
I guess it's senior in high school has like one night stand with the devil. And that's the whole concept of the show.
And I mean, because Disney Plus, they did add, I think last year, when they added Deadpool, I guess a disclaimer tab, like you can opt in for mature shows. I don't know if the show's gonna be rated. I wouldn't be surprised if they slip it into a TV 14 and just put it on a like the regular base Disney Plus. But yeah, I don't see like I don't understand how people like think of these things and like this is a good idea.
That's like,
let me put it out there.
but a part of me is like, well, it's from Germany. Is this like a old German folktale or something? Like how most Disney movies are now, like old Disney movies at least, are usually come from old fairy tales or a lot of the time German folktales. So I'm kind of like, is this like, please, is this a like historical fairy tale? Please don't tell me someone wrote this.
Yeah, like please don't tell me this is new.
No, I mean, again, it's getting scary what some of this stuff is coming. And again, with Disney, not to beat an old horse, but what is up? I mean, it's like they just try too hard. Like they're coming out like Disney has become like El Diablo, man. I mean, they're coming out with this crazy stuff. I mean, first of all, they keep going back to rewrite history with their historical classics that everyone grew up on.
They're running out of ideas.
And it goes back to what I said earlier in the broadcast. I mean, not for nothing. I mean, it kind of makes you question like years ago I had said this to some of my friends. I was like, are we at the point where we've lost the concept for good movies? Because like, are we at the point where we have to start recycling like movie titles and movies because we've lost like the good ideas? Like, has Hollywood come dry? And I'm not trying to dog anybody, but like, but like Disney. And it's like this wokeness and this cancel culture nonsense. It's like they become so sensitive and so snowflakey of a company where they're going back and they're rewriting stuff and they're incorporating things and they're doing things to these movies that they don't have to do. Instead of innovating and writing, fine. You want to have an Indian princess? Great. All right, write a movie. Like,
I think, well, a lot of it, what Disney says is their excuse for this is we want to give young children a princess that looks like them so they can look up to her.
Write a new one.
That's like the thing, like write a new one, but also at the same time, yes, this kid's favorite princess is Elsa. She's not really, I guess, a princess, but Elsa, right? Favorite Disney princess. So we're gonna make her like a different race or a different ethnicity or something. But I feel like a kid would be a lot more interested in this new princess that looks like them.
Well, because they did it with the Princess and the Frog one, Tiana. Why not do that again? Because and to your point about like saying that's their favorite princess. Well, if there was a favorite princess, well, Anna, what should we say? Elsa was white.
Well, I actually.
And why is that a problem? Why would you say, hey, this child who, depending on how old they are, doesn't have a concept of race like that, says that this princess, the way it is originally, is her favorite. Let's change the way she looks because that child will like them even more. Like that. How do you know?
I saw,
why would you do that?
There's this TikToker that I follow who his whole thing is basically saying how the whole like equal rights movements nowadays are just becoming like a way for everyone to hate on white people and stuff. Like that's his whole thing. Like he's an African American man, and so like obviously he's not biased or anything. He's just speaking what he believes. But I saw a video of him last night or the night before of him saying that it's the parents that care. Yes. Right? Because you just said, like, yeah, this kid, this is their favorite princess now without it looking like them. Mm-hmm. So they obviously don't care. It's the parents that care.
Yes. But two things has to happen if you want an authentic, it's not just Disney, I think this is movies in general. If you want an authentic, insert whatever race or background you want movie, you get writers of that race. You have them tell a story about, let's do, say, African Americans or the black story. And then you make that story, but you don't say that it's about black people. You just tell the story and it will show itself. And who did this very well was the last Spider-Man movie. Miles Morales is a black Spider-Man who lives in Brooklyn. Not once did they have to go out and say, "Hey, I'm Spider-Man. I'm black." But you can tell by the way they portrayed the culture, the way he dressed, the way he talked, that he is a black man from Brooklyn.
I think genuinely these companies, specifically Disney, they're just running out of ideas and they're just coming up with excuses
But it's
for
their
it.
own fault. I mean, think about it. And you know what? Not for nothing. I think you're onto something 100%. I mean, look, say what you will about him. And I'm not. This is not what I'm getting into today. But look at for instance, look at Tyler Perry, for instance. I mean, dude did his thing. You know, like he had his content. You know, like look at even going back to Disney wanted to portray different style princesses and stuff before the whole wokeness and cancel culture. Like they put out princesses like Brave, the girl from Brave. Now you had a redheaded. You know, now you had they started to do granted the princess from Brave to me was like that was during like the female empowerment movement, which was great. That was fine. I was all about that. I wanted my daughter to see strong woman. And
I'm genuinely shocked they're putting out live action Snow White for a few reasons. Snow White is canonically a 14-year-old girl. Prince Philip? Is that the Snow White prince? Prince Philip is very much not a 14-year-old boy and is very much a full-grown man who finds this random child in the woods and kisses her. So I'm genuinely surprised in the year of 2023 they actually feel like they can make this movie without getting backlash for it.
Well,
Like, are they changing her age?
They probably will.
Why not? Snow White not 14. Sorry, she's actually 19. She's actually 19 now.
They'll make it a point too. It's like, oh, this of age princess.
That was
so sleepy
like the whole point was she ran away because she was a child who was prettier than her stepmom. That was literally the whole point of the movie. And now just because they are running out of ideas and they want to make a live action of this movie, they're changing the whole thing.
I think it's partly the consumer's fault as well. Because they don't make 7 Mission Impossibles if they flopped at Mission Impossible 4. They don't make, I think it's like 8 Transformers. If
they just make a new one.
They just made a new one. If it flopped at Transformers 4. They don't have, who's the dude that's Indiana Jones? His name is slipping my brain.
Don't know, I've never seen it.
Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford. They wouldn't have dragged Harrison Ford's old behind out there to do those stunts if we stop watching Indiana Jones. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of our fault a little bit, but we get nostalgic, right? It's like, oh, I like Snow White. Granted,
Who's watching Snow White in 2023?
Maybe not this one because they're switching stuff up. But normally they'd be like, oh, well, okay. Oh, there's a lot of people that love Disney.
Like
Disney adults, come on.
My worst subcategory of people I have. They're in my top 10 worst people.
If we keep making these companies money off of reruns and remakes with little effort, why would they put in the effort to make something new? But if you stop watching remake number 7 of said movie or the 15th season of a show that was terrible since season 6, maybe they'll start making something new and actually try.
It's branding too, right? Like, again, I'm talking about Disney because I absolutely hate them nowadays. But and also they're really the only movies that I actually watch. So that's the only thing I can bring to this conversation is Disney beef. But with Disney too, they have the branding of guy finds girl and guy fall in love, happily ever after, right? Even nowadays, the whole thing is happily ever after. There's only so much you can do with that.
Wait and see. Disney's going to change all that too.
There's
Disney's
only so much you can do with that concept. Because even in Brave, there was no man in Brave. Still lived happily ever after, though.
Look, all I can say is now here's the scary part. So now we're in the middle of this writer's strike, and we're in the middle of the actors' strike, and people's shows are not going on. And the other thing, and this is kind of where I wanted to bring this to on this discussion is, you look at what's happening now, and people are going nuts. People are going into show holes, and show hole is a very layman's term of an actual depression and anxiety. Did you know that there's an uptick in people's depressive and anxious states because people are there's an actual addictive tendency that's taking place to their TV series and all that. So now they're well, what do I do? What do I do? So
Right.
so
I think-
they're craving a binge like a drug addict.
A lot of this, I feel like, comes from the whole phrase of like comfort characters. Like, oh, they're my comfort character, because people obviously like get attached to these characters that don't actually exist.
But they're over-identifying with them to the point where there's a codependence that's taking place where they
There's-
have to be part of their lives.
This anime I used to watch. Will also used to watch it. Don't know if he's caught up. However, My Hero Academia.
I'm not caught up.
I don't remember if it was one of the movies that came out or one of the seasons, but in one of the parts of this show, one of the characters dies. People were so mad that this character died, they were killing themselves over it.
Jeez.
Genuinely, there was like 4 or 5 people that killed themselves because this character died, and then the writers were like, hey, character's alive.
You just had to wait till the next season. It's called the cliffhanger.
I should have waited. But that's like the thing. People like get so attached to these comfort characters, and then when they're gone for years at a time, it's like, oh, I'm so depressed. I have
like, you
nothing to
feel
like hold on to.
Something's missing because you're not like watching
And
something new with this character.
I am a victim of comfort characters, right? I hold on to them very tightly, but I am not depressed when they're gone. It just takes me a while to debrief.
It's just like and don't get me wrong, I over-identify with some of them as well but like it's crazy. There's like this whole movement now of like this anxious state that's taking place where people are just they're losing their junk. They are becoming anxious and depressed, and it's all because so my curiosity starts to take place. Okay, so now people are finding out that their shows are not coming back on time, and they are losing it, and they're panicking like a junkie looking for a fix. One of the top searches, like I said, on Google is like, what's a great show to binge watch? But here's the thing. A lot of these shows that people are binge watching, they're finding out it's only 1 season long, and they're finishing it so quickly, they're like, oh my God, I need something else to watch. It's becoming an issue. I don't know. All I can tell you is that, hey, guys, buckle up. Hey, like I said, tune into the independent stuff for, watch The Chosen. They got 4 seasons of that, and their season's coming out soon.
Or become a writer.
Read a book.
Just become a writer. Just do it for them.
I think it's a good time for people to reflect on what they do. If you don't have any new shows or movies, and you're like, I have nothing left, get some hobbies.
I have no purpose in life.
Get some hobbies. Touch some grass.
Me and my mom talked about that earlier.
Like I mean, it's like funny to say, but it's true. I know like there's people who all they do is watch TV, and like when TV's done, like what if no new shows? Like I said, you rewatched your comfort show for the millionth time, and you can recite every line by heart. Is that really what you want to be known for in life? Is the person who knows every word of
Be with Sherlock.
like you were Sherlock? If they were like, you know what, Sherlock, no more new seasons. The license run out. You can't watch
They
it anymore.
did do that, and I was devastated.
It's like what are you gonna do?
Actually, they were gonna do another season, and then he accepted the role of Doctor Strange, and
And the rest is history.
I'd rather him be Sherlock season 5 than any of the Doctor Strange movies,
I mean,
You can definitely find another bad guy.
especially Doctor Strange 2.
isn't Doctor Strange like one of the longest? No, it's Doctor Who. Is that the
Doctor
one?
Who.
Like, there you go. Binge watch that.
I think
That'll
they're
take you,
still making Doctor Who.
Isn't that like 60 years in the making or something like that? You can.
Well, there was this whole like thing in like mid 2010s. It was called like the Super Wholock fandom, where it's like it was Supernatural, Doctor Who, and then Sherlock. And most people watch all 3. I only watched one of them though.
Look,
Supernatural too. I don't like it, but I think that's pretty long.
We've become a society so dependent on entertainment, and and I know from generation to generation that entertainment changes from folk stories to, whatever. Like because before TV they had to do something, right? So storytelling was one thing, and then it went to the form of acting on stage, and now it's to the form of television, and to all you writers who are in the Writers Guild, hey, good luck. To all you actors who are getting paid gross amounts of money to do what you do, good luck. Be creative. Stop rewriting old stuff and calling it new. Disney, stop redoing things that have been done and changing it to be woke. But to all of you who are codependent on your TV personification people that you love so much.
Me.
Get a hobby.
Literally me.
And if you're falling
I'm talking to
into,
you. Get a hobby.
You're right.
if you find yourself falling into that depressive state and becoming anxious,
Also me.
there's there's a problem here. I mean, there really is. I mean, honestly, like, and I get it. Like, I get that and it's funny because, like, you know, these people, they're actors. They're not. It's not real. Like, it's a story. You know. But you know, it is sometimes, and people who deal with anxiety and people who deal with depression for real outside of the TV world. I know that a lot of times people use TV, like TV shows and movies, to escape. It is an escape, a break from reality. And so you find yourself looking at, what do I do now? Well, you know, there's all kinds of other coping mechanisms and tricks that you can use outside of depending on technology, but that's a story for another day. I want to leave you with just this thought as we come to the end of our program. 2 Corinthians 12:9 says, "My grace is all you need, for my power is the greatest when you are weak." In Psalm 73:26 it says, "My flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever." Nehemiah 8:10 says, "Do not grieve, for the joy of the Lord is your strength." Psalms 46:5 says, "God is within her, she will not fail. God will help her at break of day." Philippians 4:13 says, "I can do all things through him who gives me strength." And most importantly, Romans 3:23 says, for all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God." You know, the answer to your problem, the solution to the situation that you're facing, is very simple. It's Jesus Christ. We talk about that every day. I talk about that every day, you know, as a minister, but we talk about it every week on this podcast. And simply put, no matter what it is that you're going through, we've all sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. But the beauty of the God that we talk about on this show, even though we spend most of the podcast talking about whatever it is that's going out in society, that's exactly what it is. It's just insane things that are happening. It's total insanity that today you can turn on your TV and connect to the internet and just watch pretty much whatever it is that you want to watch. I mean, for those of you who are a little bit older, this is a new concept, right? Like, we didn't think about these things way back when, and technology and things will continue to evolve. Society and everything that we see around us will continue to change and evolve. But the one thing that never changes is God's love for you and the fact that he will always have your back. The fact that he still sits here and he waits with his arms wide open for you to just surrender and accept him into your life. Actors can be on strike. Writers can be on strike. Union after union, they go on strike. We read about strikes all the time. But God never goes on strike. He's always there for you. He'll always be there for you no matter what. That's the God that we continually try to promote to you in this program. Give him a chance. Let God come in and change your life. You will never be the same. I don't know what else to say. We say it every week. You want to get a more in-depth discussion about salvation, check out our special episode, A Call to Salvation, and we really go through the nitty-gritty. But if you want to receive the Lord Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, maybe you're on the fence today, give us a shout. Check out our pages, private message us, do whatever it takes to get in contact with us. And we're here. We're waiting. We're ready to talk to you and to pray with you and to do whatever it is that needs to be done to help you as we talk about who Jesus Christ is as you make that decision. Well, I don't know about y'all, but I think that's all I got.
I'm tired.
Can't talk about Disney anymore. Can't do it.
Emotionally distraught because of Disney.
Disney.
Not a Disney adult.
No.
Apparently, I can't gain no more weight.
Apparently, I'm already too big for some of the rides, so.
They sell a jalapeno corn dog there, but you can only be 180 pounds.
Oh, we're going to find out that turkey leg sales are going to be down, so.
What if I'm like 175, but I'm bloated?
Can't get in the
Take a
ride.
water pill. Well, everybody, I don't know if you find yourself in the North Providence, Rhode Island area, but we'd love for you to check out our church, Saving Grace, on 1 Volturno Street in North Providence, Rhode Island. We're there Sunday mornings at 10:30 for our worship service. If you're in the neighborhood or you find yourself vacationing in the Rhode Island area, because, hey, let's face it, we live here, so we take it for granted. So maybe you're coming down to Newport to check out the mansions, or I don't know, whatever all you people decide to come do in the Rhode Island play. We live here, so we don't vacation
real.
here. Like,
See the bug.
I hear Newport is a thing to do here, or you come down to Boston to watch the Red Sox or whatever, or Gillette Stadium for a concert. We're nearby to all those things. So if you want to come check out our church in North Providence, we'd love to have you 10:30 on Sundays for our worship service. If you're not available to come down in person and you want to watch our services, how else can they do that, Miss Sierra?
At Saving RI on Facebook and YouTube.
Look at that. You can
got
check
the
us out
handle
live.
this time.
You got it. You
What
got
a
the handle
pro.
perfect. And if you want to come a little bit earlier, you can check out our Bible workshop at 9:30 a.m. Same location for an in-depth Bible study as we dissect Scripture with Pastor Floriano Pereira. Check out our church website, www.savinggrace.church. That's right, www.savinggrace.church. Not .com, not .org. I said .church. So it's www.savinggrace.church. And you can find out about the church that we serve at. We'd love to have you check us out. If you're not in the area and you live far away, we are tied into churches all over the country. We'd love to put you in contact with a church that would be in your neighborhood so you can tie into the body of Christ and start this journey off right as you get to know Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. Just reach out and we'd love to do that with you. Maybe you accepted the Lord Jesus Christ, or maybe you're trying to figure out how to accept the Lord Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. Reach out to us. We have people that are always willing and able to pray with you and for you. We'll talk you through the process, and we will set you up with a Bible so you can start your journey off right. So, we appreciate having you with us this week. As always, you could always go to our website, www.temporaryinsanitypodcast.com, and check out all of our previous episodes, our behind the scenes at 3 o'clock. And that's a wrap. Tune in next week at noon as we come up with God knows what and have some more fun.
All right.
You guys got anything else?
Bye.
Peace.
All right, God bless you. We love you all. Have a good week.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. New episodes drop every Friday at noon. Have a question about our faith or the insane times we live in? Go to our website, www.temporaryinsanitypodcast.com, and record a voice message. It may end up on our show. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and our YouTube channel at Temporary Insanity Podcast.